My family kicked me out because my sister falsely accused me of stealing her engagement ring. 3 years later, they discovered it in the garbage disposal. I never thought I'd be recounting this story, but here goes. I'm Elliot, and 3 years ago, my life was turned upside down by a bogus complaint filed by my older sister, Gemma, who was 29. I grew up in a little Ohio town with my parents, John, 55, and Lisa, 53, and my sister, Gemma. We lived in a modest two-story house that my parents bought when they first got married. It wasn't luxurious, but it was home. My father taught high school math, while my mother worked as a nurse at the local hospital. They were not wealthy, but they ensured we had all we needed. Growing up, Gemma and I were quite close. We'd spend hours playing in our backyard, climbing the ancient oak tree, and making up elaborate games. She was always in charge, drawing up the rules and narratives, while I was glad to follow along. As we grew older, however, things began to change. Gemma was always the overachiever. She was at the top of her class, captain of the debate team, and seemed to flourish in anything she did. In comparison, I was more relaxed. I did okay in school, but I was never as motivated as Gemma. As we entered adolescence, this discrepancy weakened our bond. By the time Gemma left for college, we'd grown apart. She received a scholarship to a prestigious university whilst I remained in my hometown and attended community college. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, so I took a variety of classes to figure it out. After graduating from college, Gemma moved to the city and started working for a huge marketing agency. She'd returned home on holidays and weekends full of stories about her intriguing life and successful career. I couldn't help feeling inadequate in comparison. I was still living at home, working part-time at the local grocery store, and figuring out my next move. Despite our differences, I had always imagined Gemma and I were all right. We weren't as close as we had once been, but I chalked it up to growing older. I had no idea how quickly things might fall apart. Gemma and her boyfriend, Tom, who was 31, got engaged 3 years ago. They'd been dating for 2 years, and everyone was thrilled. My parents idolized Tom, a lawyer from an affluent family. He proposed with a magnificent diamond ring that had been in his family for generations. Gemma was ecstatic and couldn't stop showing it off to everyone. The engagement celebration was a large event. My parents invited everyone in town to celebrate with us. I remember feeling a little out of place among the wealthy guests Gemma and Tom had invited from the city. I stayed close to my old high school friends who were still in town, feeling more comfortable with them than with Gemma's sophisticated crowd. A month after the engagement, all hell broke loose. It was Tuesday afternoon, and I had the day off from work. I was in my room playing video games and enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. Gemma was visiting for a week, taking some time off from work to start planning the wedding with our mother. I heard Gemma coming home after her shopping expedition with Mom. They were chatting and joking downstairs. I didn't think much of it and went back to my game. Approximately an hour later, I heard Gemma scream. When I hurried downstairs to see what was going on, she accused me of removing her engagement ring. She explained that she took it off while doing dishes and placed it on the kitchen counter. When she returned to get it, it was gone. I was surprised and instantly denied taking it, but Gemma wouldn't listen. She kept screaming that I was the only other person in the house, so it must have been me. She added that I was always envious of her success and that I probably wanted to sell the ring so that I could finally leave and do something with my life. Our parents returned home amid the uproar, and Gemma related her version of events. To my horror, they fully believed her. My mother started crying, wondering how I could have done such a thing to my own sister. My father only looked at me with disappointment in his eyes. They started searching my room, turning everything upside down. They didn't find the ring, but they did find some money I had saved from working at the grocery store. It wasn't much, maybe a few $100s, but Gemma soon seized upon it, stating I must have sold the ring, and that's how the money came in. I attempted to explain that I had been saving for months and was thinking about taking some classes at the local community college, but no one listened. The next few days were a nightmare. My parents and Gemma were pressing me to confess and return the ring. They threatened to call the police if I did not come clean. I was terrified and felt completely alone. Nobody in my family believed me, and I was treated like a criminal inside my own home. I tried to call several of my friends, but the majority of them had moved away after high school. The few people who remained in town appeared unwilling to become involved in family conflicts. I felt more alone than ever. After a week of constant accusations and threats, my parents made a decision that changed my life forever. They told me I needed to go. They said they couldn't trust me anymore and that I was bringing dishonor to the family. They gave me 2 days to pack up my possessions and depart. I was devastated. I had nowhere to go and wasn't sure what to do. My best high school friend, Ryan, a 26-year-old male who had recently returned to town after serving in the army, offered to let me sleep on his couch for a while, but I knew I couldn't remain too long. His apartment was modest, and he was just getting back on his feet. I packed all I could into a backpack and an old duffel bag, including clothes, books, my laptop, and a few mementos from happier days. As I was leaving, I observed Gemma staring at me from her old bedroom window. I thought I saw a spark of doubt in her eyes, but she swiftly turned away. Walking out of that house, which was all I knew, was the most difficult thing I'd ever done. I felt betrayed and abandoned by those who were supposed to love me unconditionally. The saddest aspect was that I had done nothing wrong. I spent the following 2 months alternating between Ryan's couch and inexpensive motels as I could afford them. I grabbed any odd job I could find to make ends meet. I worked as a dishwasher, a dog walker, and even for a few weeks on a construction site. It was a challenge, but I was determined to establish my innocence and achieve success on my own. Eventually, I secured a steady job at a warehouse on the outskirts of town. The job was difficult. The hours were long, but the income was consistent. The pay was not great, but it permitted me to rent a modest room in a shared house with other warehouse employees. I gradually tried to restore my life, but the anguish over what had transpired remained. I'd lie awake at night, replaying the events in my mind and wondering how they had gone so wrong. How could my family have turned on me so quickly? How could Gemma, who had grown up with me and knew me better than anyone else, think I'd do such a thing? I ended all communication with my family. They tried to call me multiple times in the beginning. My mother would leave passionate voicemails encouraging me to return home and make things right. My father sent a few short text messages signaling that we needed to talk. Gemma did come to the warehouse once, but I declined to see her. I couldn't bear to talk to them after what they had done. They were no longer my family. I lived like this for 3 years. I met new people at work and in my shared house. We'd hang out after shifts to drink beer and watch games. It wasn't the life I had envisioned for myself, but it was mine, and I'd built it from scratch. I worked hard and was eventually promoted to shift supervisor at the warehouse. I began taking online courses to master business management. I was slowly deciding what I wanted to do with my life. But there was always a part of me that was angry and hurt by what had happened. I missed my former life and family, but I could not forgive them for not believing me. Every holiday season was tough. When I saw families shopping together or heard Christmas music, I felt saddened by what I had missed. Then last week, I got an unexpected email from my dad. The subject line reads simply, "We need to talk." The message was brief, explaining that they needed to meet with me immediately and that it was about the ring incident. At first, I was tempted to disregard it, just like I had with all of their previous attempts to contact me. But something made me hesitate. Maybe it was curiosity, or perhaps a small part of me still desired a resolution. After hours of battling with myself, I finally resolved to listen to them. I called my father, and what he said shocked me. The ring had been found. Gemma had accidentally knocked it into the garbage disposal while doing the dishes. She only realized this a few days ago when the disposal started making strange noises, and they called a plumber to inspect it. My father stated Gemma became distraught when she realized what had happened and that I had been telling the truth all along. He explained that they all felt horrible about what they had done to me and wanted to make things right. I hung up the phone feeling a mix of emotions. On the one hand, I felt vindicated because I had always told the truth, and now everyone knew. However, I was angry. I was enraged that it had taken 3 years to discover the truth, that I had lost so much time with my family, and that I had fought alone for so long when I had done nothing wrong. Now I'm at a crossroads. My family wants me to return home. They say they want to make things right. Gemma has been calling and messaging nonstop to ask for forgiveness, but I'm not sure I can forgive them. They shoved me out without hesitation, assumed the worst of me, and left me to fend for myself for 3 years. Part of me wants to send them all to hell and let them bear the guilt of what they did to me. But another part of me misses my prior life and wonders if there is any chance to reconstruct what we've lost. I don't know what to do. Should I give them a chance to make amends? Or should I keep living the life I've built for myself without them? I'm torn and would appreciate some outside perspective on this entire situation. It has been a week since I first shared my story, and a lot has transpired. I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. It actually helped me process my emotions and decide what to do. After much thought, I decided to meet with my family. I felt I owed it to myself to confront them and seek closure, even if I wasn't convinced about reconciliation. We planned to meet in a neutral location, a small coffee shop in the next town over. I chose it because it was far enough away from our hometown that we would not run into anyone we knew, yet close enough that anyone could get there without much effort. I was very worried on the day of the meeting. I hadn't seen my family in 3 years and was unsure what to anticipate. I arrived at the coffee shop early and chose a table in the corner where we could have some privacy. When they walked in, it was like a punch in the gut. Seeing them after 3 years was intense. My mother burst into tears as soon as she saw me. She seemed older than I remembered, with grayer hair and lines around her eyes. My father looked sick and exhausted, his shoulders dropping as if he were carrying a heavy load. Gemma couldn't look me in the eyes at first. She seemed smaller and less confident than the sister I remembered. We sat down, and for a while, nobody knew what to say. Then they all began talking at once with apologies tumbling out. My parents said they had failed as parents by not trusting me and kicking me out. They professed regretting their decision every day since. But pride and humiliation had kept them from reaching out sooner. My father, who had always been a man of few words, spent hours talking about how he had replayed those days in his mind, trying to figure out how he could have been so blind. He claimed he had always taken pride in being fair and rational, but emotion had clouded his judgment when it was most needed. My mother told me through tears how she had kept my room exactly as I had left it, hoping that one day I would return. She reported that she would wake up in the middle of the night believing she had heard me arrive home only to remember what had happened. Gemma went into tears, saying she would never forgive herself for accusing me and ruining our relationship. She said that she had always looked up to me when we were kids, even though I was younger. She admitted that she had been so absorbed with her own life and problems that she had lost sight of what was really essential. As they talked, memories from our childhood came flooding back. I remembered how Gemma stood up for me when I was bullied in middle school. I thought of all the times we'd laughed together, shared secrets, and supported each other through terrible times. It exacerbated the pain of betrayal while also reminding me of the wonderful times we'd shared. I heard what they said, but I couldn't bring myself to forgive them right away. The grief and fury from the preceding 3 years were too acute. I told them I needed time to process things. They appeared to understand and did not ask for more. My mother attempted to hug me before we left, but I backed away. I wasn't ready for that kind of closeness yet. The hurt look on her face almost persuaded me to reconsider my decision, but I stood firm. I needed to protect myself emotionally. After the meeting, I went back to my apartment and carefully contemplated what I wanted. Did I wish to return to my prior life? Could I ever trust them again? Was it worth striving to mend our relationship? I realized that while I missed having a family, I had also grown substantially over the previous 3 years. I had become self-sufficient, strong, and had built a life for myself from scratch. I wasn't the same person they had kicked out 3 years ago. I thought about my warehouse job, online education, and the friends I'd made. I worked hard to get where I was, and I felt proud of what I had accomplished on my own. The notion of quitting that and returning to my old life made me feel terrible. At the same time, I couldn't deny that seeing my family elicited a range of emotions. Despite everything, I continued to love and miss them. I pondered if I could be in a relationship with them while maintaining my independence. After a few days of deliberation, I made a decision. I phoned my parents and told them that while I appreciated their apology, I wasn't ready to totally reconcile. I told them I needed more time and space to heal. I also set some boundaries. I stated that I was willing to retain minimal contact with them, but I wasn't going back home or pretending nothing happened. I informed them that if we were to continue our relationship, it would have to be on my terms. They expressed disappointment but acknowledged their understanding. They agreed to respect my boundaries and give me the time I needed. My mother asked if she might call me once a week to check in, and I agreed, figuring it would be a good way to gradually re-establish confidence. As for Gemma, I've opted to keep my distance for the time being. Her actions had had the greatest impact on me, and I was not yet ready to forgive her. I informed her that I needed more time before I could consider having another relationship with her. She was upset, but said she understood and would wait until I was ready. It's been a difficult week with many emotional ups and downs. I've had moments when I doubted my decision, wondering if I'm being too harsh or if I'm giving up an opportunity to rejoin my family. But then I remember how quickly they turned against me. And I know I'm doing the right thing by taking it slow. I've also been studying therapy possibilities. Many people suggested it in comments online, and I believe it would be beneficial to consult with a professional while navigating this difficult circumstance. I've never been to therapy before, so I'm scared, but I believe it will be useful to me. For the time being, my main focus is on my career and studies. I have a large project coming up at work, and I'm determined not to let all of this family drama distract me from my objectives. I'm also considering moving to a better apartment. I've been saving, and I think I'm ready for my own place without roommates. Thank you for your continued support. It is reassuring to know that there are people out there who understand and care, even if we have never met. I'll offer another update if anything significant changes. About a month has passed since that meeting, and I'd like to share some developments. I've been following the boundaries I've set with my family. We've exchanged a few phone calls and text messages, but nothing too serious. It's been fine. It's awkward at times, but not as painful as I anticipated. My parents have usually honored my wishes. They check in every now and then, but they never ask for more than I'm willing to supply. I can tell they're trying hard to rebuild trust, but it's a slow process. My mother calls once a week, as promised. These calls were difficult at first, with long silences, but they are getting easier. We normally talk about neutral topics like her work at the hospital, the weather, and my online education. It isn't much, but it's a start. My father has been sending me short emails, usually just to check in or share something he thinks I might be interested in. Last week, he forwarded me an article about a new business opening in our town. It was a small gesture, but it reminded me of how he used to clip newspaper articles for me when I was younger. Gemma struggled with the barrier I'd put up between us. She sent me several lengthy, emotional texts apologizing and begging for the chance to make things right. I replied simply, saying that I needed more time. It's challenging, but I'm determined. I know she is hurting, but I am not ready to deal with her emotions on top of mine. The big news is that I've started therapy. I found a counselor that specialized in family trauma, and we have had a few sessions thus far. It's been challenging to bring up all of my prior grief, but I believe it's helping. My therapist is helping me deal with my anger and trust issues, as well as teaching me how to set healthy boundaries. In our most recent session, we spoke about how the incident with the ring represented more than just an accusation. It also tapped into years of feeling like I didn't measure up to Gemma's successes. It's made me realize that there were issues in our family dynamic long before the ring incident, and that healing will include addressing them as well. One unexpected outcome of all of this is that I've become closer to my friends, particularly Ryan. They've been really supportive throughout this journey. Ryan even volunteered to accompany me to future family gatherings as moral support. It's taught me that family is more than simply blood. It's about who helps you when things get tough. Work has provided a welcome distraction. I've dedicated myself to my profession and even obtained a small promotion. I am now in charge of inventory management for my shift, which entails more responsibility and a small pay raise. It's wonderful to have something enjoyable to focus on. In terms of my living situation, I have opted to remain where I am for the time being. It isn't much, but it is mine and represents the independence I've worked so hard for. My parents tried to help me locate a better situation, but I declined. I need to accomplish this on my own. However, I began to really investigate options for furthering my education. A state college about an hour away offers night classes. I'm considering applying to their business program. It would be a major transition, but I believe I am ready for it. Overall, I am taking things one day at a time. Some days are harder than others. There are times when I miss our effortless connection as a family, but then I remember how quickly they turned on me and realize I can't rush this. My therapist believes it is healthy to have mixed feelings about everything. She advises me to be patient with myself and to avoid feeling obligated to forgive before I am ready. We're developing strategies for dealing with impending family reunions and holidays, which are making me more nervous than I'd like to admit. For the time being, my top objectives are healing and building a life I can be proud of, whether with or without my family. It's not easy, but I am optimistic about the future. I'm learning that it's okay to prioritize myself and that setting boundaries does not make me a bad person. Thank you again for your continued support. Your comments and messages have given me courage during this process. It's good to know that I'm not alone in dealing with family issues like these. It's been 6 months since my original post, so I figured it was time for a final update. A lot has changed during the previous few months. The biggest news is that I've decided to move to a different location in pursuit of a new job opportunity. It is a huge advancement in my career, and I am excited about the new opportunities. The employment is with a logistics company, and the tasks are similar to those I performed at the warehouse, but on a much greater scale. It's a management position that I've been working toward for a while. The salary is significantly better than what I was earning previously. Additionally, it includes benefits such as health insurance and a 401k plan. Before making this decision, I had a long discussion with my therapist. We discussed how this move will affect my healing process and my relationship with my family. Finally, we agreed that this may be a positive experience for me, an opportunity to truly stand on my own 2 feet and establish myself outside of the family drama. I notified my parents of the move last week. They were surprised and unhappy, but they expressed their understanding. My mother cried a little, saying she had hoped we'd have more time to repair our connection before I left. My father was more stoic, but I could see he was disappointed, too. They were both apprehensive about me being alone in an unfamiliar place, but I assured them that I would be fine. Gemma took it the hardest. After I told her, she arrived unannounced at my apartment, pleading with me not to leave. She acknowledged that she thought she was losing me all over again. It was a difficult conversation, but I stood my ground. I told her that I needed to do this for myself, and that our relationship wasn't strong enough for her opinion to influence my decision. Our relationship is improving, but it's not ideal. We've had several family dinners in recent months. They've been uncomfortable and awkward at times, but we're gradually adjusting to being around each other again. Trust is a key concern. I sometimes question their motivations, wondering if they actually believe what they say or if they are merely trying to alleviate their guilt. My therapist has been invaluable throughout this. She's helped me understand my feelings and set boundaries. She has stated that forgiving does not involve forgetting or pretending that the pain never occurred. It's about letting go of my anger so that I can achieve peace of mind. I've taken that to heart. While I doubt I will ever forget what happened, I am working to forgive my family. Not for their sake, but for mine. It was draining to hold on to my anger and hatred, and I'm ready to let it go. As I prepare for this move, I have been reflecting on all that has happened. 3 years ago, I felt my life was over. I had lost everything, including those I cared about. But now, I realize how much I learned from that experience. I'm stronger, more independent, and have a better sense of my own worth than I ever had before. I'm not sure what the future holds for me and my family. We plan to stay in touch after I move, with weekly phone calls and visits during the holidays. It's a start. Perhaps with time and distance, we can create something new. For the time being, my focus is on the future. I am excited about my new job, the new city, and the opportunities that await me. I've started searching for apartments online and researching the area where I'll be living. It's a mix of excitement and trepidation, but I'm mostly looking forward to this new chapter in my life. Whatever happens with my family, I am confident I will be fine. I've proven to myself that I can handle whatever life throws at me. And I've discovered the importance of surrounding myself with people who believe in and support me, whether they're related by blood or not.